14 rounds down and 13 to go. Let's see what round 15 has in store. G'day guys and welcome back to The Casual Athlete. I'm your boy Burgz and I am here to hit you with another tipping and predictions video. This time it's going to be round 15, but as we always do, let's take a look back to how we went last week. As you can see, guys, starting off with Origin on Wednesday night, it seems like a lifetime ago, but the Queensland Maroons got it done again in the last 10 minutes with 12 men on the field, and that was an absolutely fantastic way to finish off your Wednesday night if you're a Queensland fan. Being a Blues fan, though, it was, again, demoralising, depressing, whatever you want to call it. But we've lost the first game of the series, and the next game is at Suncorp, so that is going to hurt us, I think, in the long run. Raiders getting a win as predicted. That was a very close game towards the end of it. Managed to hold the Tigers out for about 70 minutes, but with this Raiders side, again, they seem to be one of the best teams in the NRL at letting teams back into the game in the last 10 minutes. The Warriors as well, they finally got back onto winning terms against the Dolphins. I just thought that the Dolphins travelling over to Auckland was going to be a bit too much, and with some of their Origin stars out like Tom Gilbert and the Hammer, they were losing a bit of firepower there, and the Warriors finally, they looked at full strength, so that was awesome. Sean Johnson, though, was outstanding in that game. 2 tries, and it just looked like the SJ of old. Bit of footwork. He is looking fantastic this year. I absolutely love the football he's playing, and the smile on his face is evident every single week. Bunnies with a win, that was expected. They blew out the Titans after going down early, and that was looking a bit dicey there for a moment, but the Rabbitohs, they finally got clicked into gear and they put the points on the board. Cody Walker is really pushing for that 5'8" spot in the New South Wales Blue team, in my opinion. Broncos. Now, a lot of people didn't pick this one, and I did. The Sharks are just too weak in the middle. They're a bit of a pretender team for me. They look like they're going to make the top 4, but I don't consider them a serious contender like everyone else. And this Broncos side, I've seen a lot of steal from them and their Origin players backed up. So I always thought that they were going to get that game done. They made it a little bit difficult out at Shark Park, but they do have a good record there, and that's what saved them in the end. The Dogs, the Dogs, they were so close. 1 point in this one. The Roosters still do not look a good side, and the Dogs made it hard for them. Just couldn't get there in the end, but I thought that was a good tip at the start of the week, and I stand by it. The Dogs deserved to win that game and walk away with the 2 points, but they'll have to lick their wounds this week. The Storm. What happened to the Storm? Has anyone seen them? Because I don't know if they even got off the plane at North Queensland Country Bank Stadium. It was an absolute riot from my Cowboys. They demolished them, putting on 45 points, the second highest score that has ever been put on a Craig Bellamy coach team, and I am taking that one to the bank, ladies and gentlemen. And the Panthers, well, they hung on to beat a pretty battered and bruised Dragons side, but the big news out of this game is that Nathan Cleary picked up an injury 16 minutes in, and he is in doubt for Origin 2, and there are some headaches come selection time. My thoughts also go out to Jack de Belin, was carried off the field, but towards the end of the game, looked to be walking around and high-fiving a few teammates, just looking okay there, which is good signs. So, 6 out of 8 guys, but we move on to round 15. Just a quick reminder, guys, that 67% of you are not subscribed at the moment, so please make sure that you like and subscribe to our videos if you want to be notified about our latest content. We bring out so much stuff weekly, guys, so stay tuned, and let's get into round 15 tips and predictions. Starting us off on the Gold Coast for round 15, we have the Titans taking on the Tigers. Tigers, little bit lackluster last week, couldn't score a point for 70 minutes, and the Titans, they went with the Rabbitohs to an extent and then fell away late. It was always going to be pretty hard without Kieran Foran there to provide a bit of attack, and David Fafita and Tino backing up from Origin. Saying that, though, Tino had a very good game against the Rabbitohs. At the moment, the Tigers seem in pretty decent form. So do the Titans. And guess what, guys? The record stayed intact last week. 14 from 14 on the first game of the round. And I have a feeling it's going to continue again. And I'm going to go with the Tigers in this one, guys. I think they were a bit unlucky last week. Couldn't get it clicking. Api Coruscant gets a bit more time to recover from Origin. Saying that, though, he had a very good game last week. But I'm going to go the Tigers, 1-12. We head down to Canberra for the Friday night first game this week, guys, where we've got the Raiders taking on the Warriors. And this is a big one, especially for Jarrod Croker. A lot of lead up in the media to this. Ricky Stewart has been very outspoken about that, but it's good to see that Jarrod Croker gets to play his 300th game at home. And do the boys get up for him in this game? I am a bit worried. I think Canberra can potentially fall away late in this game. And if it's going to be close, I expect the Warriors to put on a few points, especially in that last 15 to 10 minute period. And I'm actually going to go the Warriors for one of the biggest upsets to Canberra fans and Jarrod Croker himself. It's going to be Warriors 1-12. Next game up on Friday night, guys, is the Sea Eagles taking on the Dolphins at Four Pines Park in Brookvale. And the Dolphins, yeah, they didn't get a win last week, but I don't think there's too much to worry about, Dolphins fans. You are still overperforming your mark at the moment, and that is something to be very proud of. The surprise of the year, in my opinion. The Sea Eagles, well, they had a bye, so it's good to get Jake Trbojevic a bit of rest in those legs, especially DCE as well, playing a very hefty Origin game. I think he needed that rest on the back of Queensland's performance on Wednesday night. I just think the Sea Eagles are in a better position right now in Sydney. Yeah, Seabold up against Wayne Bennett. There's a bit of beef there. There always is. I'm pretty torn on this one, guys. It's tough. I do like the Dolphins, but I think the Sea Eagles off the bye will be a bit fresh. However, though, last week we saw teams coming off the bye didn't have too much success. So I am going to go the Dolphins in this one, guys. 1-12. I think it will be pretty close, but I back the Dolphins to get in there. Fins up, baby. Saturday's games start off at Cogra this week, where we have the Dragons taking on the Rabbitohs. And the Dragons, oh yes, they put up such a fight against the Penrith Panthers, but still couldn't get the job done with about 65 minutes of no Nathan Cleary. And that is very telling for this Dragons side. Ben Hunt had a pretty good game backing up from Origin, but it's just not enough at the moment. Yes, they lost Jack de Belin for the rest of the game, and he will not play in this one as well on the back of that pretty serious head knock. But I just think that, are they going to beat the Rabbitohs? Rabbitohs are flying at the moment. I don't know if Latrell plays this game, but I just think the Rabbitohs, regardless of who they're playing at the moment, they're still putting up points. And right now, I don't see the Dragons scoring 20 plus points to even go with or try and keep it close with this Rabbitohs side. So with all of that taken into account, I've got to go with the Rabbitohs 13 plus. Next Saturday game up is the Broncos taking on the Knights, and I don't need to say too much about this game, guys. It's going to be Broncos 13 plus. I just think the Knights traveling to Suncorp, especially with the form that the Broncos are in at the moment, they've had two very tough wins back to back. But what that does is build club culture and build strength. Whereas the Knights, I just think that they're unsure of an identity at the moment. Don't really know if they're a finals team. Don't know the best position to play Kalen Ponga in. There's a bit of turmoil. He says he wants to focus on club football, but we'll have to wait and see. I love the matchup of Reece Walsh versus Kalen Ponga. He'll probably want to get one over Walsh after superseding him in that Origin side. And he's also ruled himself out from any potential selection this year. So I love the matchup. I'll probably watch this game, but I just think the Broncos are going to be too strong. Broncos, 13 plus. The final game on Saturday night, guys, is a rematch for the ages. Round 11, the Roosters head out to Penrith and get absolutely smacked by the Panthers. And this is the return fixture. Allianz Stadium, Saturday night, round 15. And it's all of a sudden become a very interesting matchup. No Nathan Cleary. So that is a massive out for the Panthers. And I don't think that Jack Cogger is going to be able to replace him by any means necessary. Luai, we saw what happened when Cleary went down last week. It just didn't come together for him. He needs that player making stuff happen for him to allow his game to open up. He can't do it on his own. With the Roosters, though, they are in some weird form at the moment. They cannot blow teams out. They cannot break away from teams, and they're often playing catch up in games at the moment. 25-24, another 1 point victory. It's just not convincing right now. So this has become a very 50-50 game for me. I think Penrith have the form guide, but they don't have the best player in the game. And the Roosters, they have just got up and down form, and it's just all over the shop. But in the return fixture, I think that the Roosters get this done. They will want to make a statement. They've got to. They've got to come out with the right attitude and beat up Penrith's forwards, push them back. It's not going to be a walk in the park, and you've got to accept that. Suali'i needs to get his shit together, okay? And make sure that they are not tearing him up again on that right side. I'm going to go Roosters 1-12. Sunday's games now, guys, and the Storm are up first, taking on the Sharks out at Amy Park. Both teams had a surprising loss last week. Sharks were favourites going up against the Broncos, as were the Storm, who probably caught one of the biggest shocks of the season at the hands of my North Queensland Cowboys. I just think down at Amy Park, the Storm are going to be a little bit too much for the Sharks, who just don't have the firepower at the moment. Nico Hines seems a bit off his game. Yes, he's playing his old team, but it was a while ago. And I just think that, the Storm, on the back of losses, they always seem to play some of their best footy, in especially cases where they get beaten by nearly 50 points. And I just think the Storm are specials in this game. They're going to be back on home turf. It's going to be the Storm 1-12. We're almost home, guys. The final game of round 15 is the Dogs taking on the Eels at Accor Stadium. And what a better venue to soak up the atmosphere. I just think that the Dogs, they were so close last week, and they've showed some real promise in recent weeks. They didn't have Carraz, and I think in that game, he was going to be extremely important, especially executing those 50-50 plays where you need a guy with a bit of X factor to get you over the line. I think they would have benefited a lot from having him in the team. The Eels, however, well, they had a week off, and a bit of controversy surrounded their 5-8 this week. Dylan Brown in the news at the moment. A lot of noise coming around from the Eels at the moment. They've got a few outs, but we'll see if some of those guys come back this week. If they do, they'll be a lot stronger. I want to tip the Dogs in this game, but their forward pack is just so lackluster compared to the Eels right now. The Eels, they tend to be getting on the front foot, playing through Junior Paulo. Jermaine Hopgood is on fire right now, and the halves are really capitalizing on the back of it. And I think that Mitchell Moses will want to put his best foot forward, considering that there is a position available in that Blues side now with Nathan Cleary going down. He could be an option. So, with all of that taken into account, guys, my final tip of the week goes to the Eels, and I think that they get this game done handedly, 13+. So that's it for the video, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Please make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. We're bringing out so much content at the moment. Please make sure that you go to the Casual Athlete store to get all of your favorite sporting apparel, and I'll catch you on the next one.